Ziggity zig, back with more Tales from the Ladder. This is actually a ZVZ going on between... Oh, I got rid of it. It's up between MrBubbles and ZARAKI. So, since I didn't have enough, and I wanted to get ahead of things, and I didn't really have any submitted games, I just decided to pick one. So I went over to GG Tracker, and I just went searching for some Silver League games. So this one is actually apparently kind of a low EPM. This one seemed kind of interesting because when you look at the army curve, if you've ever seen anything on GG Tracker, check any of the links that I had put for the talking its way up the ladder. Then you can see what happens there, and you can see this one red line and one blue line, and this one actually switched back and forth quite a few times. So I thought, well, that seems like it might be a pretty cool game. It seems kind of interesting. In fact, if I remember what happened here, there was a really pretty one-sided attack that failed pretty hard, and then, so there was just a little bit of a back and forth, so I'm kind of curious. I don't know either of these people. I just picked this one at random. So this is how we're going to do TFTLs when we don't have anything else going on. But I did try to go for a silver game because I was actually aiming for silver or gold. The gold one seemed to be pretty high in the EPM, but I'm just trying to go for, yeah, there we go. So we're at average. Now, they did kind of spike, do a number of different things. But so it does seem to be that ZARAKI is going to be droning up right here. He's actually getting a couple of extra drones. But no, they're pretty well on in comparison. Looks like MrBubbles might be going for... Oh, no, not going for the hatch first. Fair enough. But what is happening here is ZARAKI is trying to get out enough scouting information going on there, sending one overlord to each, but then following up with the party hat favored drone. Look at him, he's still got his little party hat on. Woo, party hat! And this party hat has the Zerg logo on it. There they go, they're going to bump into each other, chest bump, fist bump, claw bump, whatever you would call it if you're Zerg. Now, MrBubbles has only elected to send one overlord out, which could be a good idea. Now, the spawning pool is actually going up pretty early there for MrBubbles, but ZARAKI has opted in for the early hatchery, but now that is detected by Mr. Buble. So Michael Buble is moving his way in there, and there's the spawning pool just starting up there for ZARAKI, so Bubbles does see that. Sadly, it does seem that this drone, ZARAKI has noticed that MrBubbles' spawning pool is just completing as well, so, and now it does seem MrBubbles is going to get quite a lot of detection here, but ZARAKI's not elected to get any kind of gas just yet. In fact, neither of them getting any gas. So it was spawning pool and then hatch for ZARAKI, and hatch then spawning pool for spawning pool then hatch for MrBubbles, hatch then spawning pool for ZARAKI, but they are relatively similar right now. There is a queen on the way there for MrBubbles because ZARAKI's spawning pool is not quite done, but if you look at the worker supply, they are still pretty even. EPM's pretty even as well. These players are both in silver, if I did not already mention that like 5 times. Here are all the units coming over here just to make sure that, yes, there's definitely nobody right here. This little drone with the party hat on is still just trying to have a party right here in the main base, but now it appears... Yeah, okay, so ZARAKI's trying to chase him out of there. Trying to get going a little bit of macro on the secondary base. The second base of MrBubbles is not quite on its way yet, and I think this drone might finally... Oh yeah, the scouting drone is going to get eaten. Claw bumped to death. Happens just there. There's 4 Zerglings on the way right now for ZARAKI, which is kind of an early push. I'm not sure if that's going to be the one that's going to break the camel's back immediately. This queen is moving its way down here to the expansion, which seems kind of intriguing because there's no queen on the way up top, maybe, kind of, sort of, a little bit. 2 queens on the way right now for ZARAKI over here, so just trying to get the queens up there, and actually is moving down to the other base as well. So no larva spawn up here at the top. Oh no, hit up the larva spawn and then built another queen to complete roughly on time. This queen is going to sit here at the front, probably make a couple of creep colonies, queen colonies, and just continue and hopefully give a little bit of defense at the same time. There's a couple definitely getting some gas in both parties right now, getting full on gas. So you'd expect to see a roach warren or 2 going down right about now. Is any minute now, not quite seeing it just yet, no, and in fact this drone is sitting off creep over here, so I would kind of be expecting some type of creep tumor up here at the front. I mean, they both have a number of queens. Looks like, MrBubbles has 2 queens, but ZARAKI has 3 queens right now, 1 for each base, and the forward one as well, just ready for the offense and the defense. There's the queen that's all about the creep tumors. ZARAKI's queen is just not really into that whatsoever, but definitely now has the army supply, getting out a number of these Zerglings to start hopefully moving across the map. Might be it's going to be Baneling Nest, which is kind of curious. Still nothing there. Lair on the way now for MrBubbles. Getting pretty well off the larva injects. There's going to be another larva eject. Waiting for it, waiting for it, waiting for it. No, we're not going to larva inject. But the lucky thing here is Mr. Bubbles can actually see quite a bit and has a really good view of this ramp up here. Does Mr. Bubbles doesn't have, or ZARAKI doesn't have quite as good as a view on Mr. Bubbles' base, but he does have an excellent view of this base over here that nothing even matters. ZARAKI, however, is now going to be working on speed, so I don't know if Mr. Bubbles can hold out just for the next couple of seconds. He's going to see these Zerglings growing some wings. If he's watching, he might not have noticed that they were hidden up into speed. But what's happening now is we've got 2 Evo chambers right now for Mr. Bubbles, and he's now trying to just defend this front door. Because now he can see ZARAKI's units are coming up here. Now he is a little bit supply blocked, but now what ZARAKI's going to try to do is... Oh, I was wondering if that was going to hold here in the middle. No expansions just yet. ZARAKI's still working on a couple of banelings, so this is going to be kind of an interesting baneling bust. But right now, Mr. Bubbles does have effectively 3 queens, 2 right on the front line, but 1 just a little bit in behind. Take a look quickly again at the worker supply. These 2 are very, very similar in macro and income right now. You probably would see it to be very similar, but ZARAKI's not getting quite as much gas. That might just be because... Well, that's odd, because Mr. Bubbles only has... Oh yeah, he hasn't even started. So he's taking a little bit more there. But here come all the units and the queens, if they can get off a transpose or 2, but no, it doesn't look like he's going to micro the transpose. Not the transpose, but the transfuses. What am I talking about? Making musical references. There's a couple of transfuses on the 2 queens just there at the front, not even bothering with the roach swarm because of how much energy is in behind that. That was quite... Oh, that was quite costly, especially with the banelings. If you invest so much into banelings and then don't actually get any headway to get your Zerglings in, because the Zerglings would be able to come in here and just run amok going off over here, because I think already we are at, we've got speed so far for ZARAKI, but the speed would have been able to get through, but if you can't run through into the middle, then nothing's really going to happen. So now it's just going to be roaching behind this, and Mr. Bubbles building a number of roaches, so now he's pretty much got the range advantage here, because all it is just a number of speedlings trying to be turned into these banelings. But if you can keep the queens up here at the front, and they can just transfuse these buildings until the cows come home, line up these roaches in behind these buildings, and you're set. You know, you have an Uncle Robert who has questionable taste in clothing. But it does seem, yep, Mr. Bubbles is still just sort of expanding out, just keeping an eye on things, does actually see the fringes of these banelings coming out here, and oh, if ZARAKI moves fast enough, he can actually try to pick these off with his Zerglings, but as soon as this one finishes, nope, doesn't quite get in there, but now he's going up against all these roaches, and I think, oh, Mr. Bubbles is going to move his roaches back a little bit, coming within the queen range, really helping out with the range there. These banelings are definitely not near enough to take out this number of roaches, and if you look at the army supply, it's just absolutely swamped right now, where all the larva injects for Mr. Bubbles has really paid off. ZARAKI trying to get another base in behind this, but I think without getting all the larva injects there's an inject just there, and this one, no. Just a little bit behind, probably not making a huge amount of difference, but if you look at the larva right now, Mr. Bubbles is using all of his larva, ZARAKI's only using a small amount. These banelings are not going to quite be ready to take out a number of these roaches, but there's still just so many roaches on the field right now that it's just not going to be enough. A few more speedlings coming down. So the speedling hit just did not work out. Mr. Bubbles getting an excellent read off that initial speedling hit and having the Evo chambers and the roach horn all at the front, coupled with 2 queens right there in the middle, so he's just bypassing this one and just taking out as many drones as possible, sniping the spawning pool, which is curious. Not even going to bother sniping out the lair, and ZARAKI GG's out of there. Well, an intriguing game, and like I said, it was kind of, it's about average, where about I am. So I think I can cast a game that is about near my skill level, but I certainly would have lost. I think I would have lost to Bubbles there, because he just played incredibly well up against ZARAKI on this map. So, if you have an interesting replay, send it over to me, leave me a comment down below, send me an email, ziggityzig@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at ziggityzig. We'll be back with more Tales from the Ladders. Stay tuned.